In this video, we are going to try and upgrade our Land Rover Defender from the 10-inch screen, not to the 11.4-inch screen. We're going to go the whole hog to the 13-inch screen. This screen was never fitted in the Land Rover Defender. It was fitted in the Range Rover, but I think we can do it, and I think some other people have done it. So that is what this video is going to do. We are going to go step by step. Now, the Land Rover Defender 90, we've never taken this apart. So we are going to do it sort of accelerated step by step, from taking the dash panels out, taking the screen out. We've designed our own screen mount. We'll go and have a look to convert it so it's all sort of plug and play. And then we've got the wiring loom. We'll do the wiring. And then the last bit of the video, we will do the software hack to tell the car it's got the 13-inch screen. So let's jump over to the table. Right, quick sneak preview of what is coming in the video. So this is the original 10-inch screen. This was the 11.4-inch screen, and it's much better. It not only was it bigger, it was curved, so you got less reflections, and it's some IPS technology or something, so it had much more contrast. So your black and white, it was much easier to read in daylight. And the 13-inch screen, I think, uses the same technology as this, but it's obviously just humongously bigger. The biggest advantage I found is when you're sat nav, because when it shows you where you're going, when it's this big, you're like on the roundabout, but on the bigger one you can see more further ahead and it's easier to drive. Right, so we have designed a set of parts, and basically it's really hard to get this screen to fit. So we have designed, it's been a little challenge, so we have designed these 3 plates that sort of all stack on top of each other, and we'll go through how that all works. And we put a kit together with some nuts and bolts, the wiring loom converter, a bit of heat shrink. These are some little spacers we've made, the top panel cover. These are covers that go on the end after you've done the install. So these are silver, which looks a bit rubbish, but there's no need. It doesn't matter what color. They could be pink for all I care, because you can't see them after the install. Right, and then these are our 3D printed brackets that we've designed. So that is gonna allow us to install this kit. Right, first job, let's get to work taking the old dashboard out. First thing you need to do is remove these torque screws. So you've got 4 of them on these dash end panels. I think they're made from magnesium, those dash end panels. What size have we got there, Alicia?
30.
A 30. There we go. Gone large today. Go large or go home. Right, we'll let Alicia get busy with those. With those unscrewed, you should better lift that panel off. It's magnesium. It's a really light metal. It's actually really cool. Right, with that plate removed, we've got to undo this sneaky little bolt. Now, it won't be orange, so be careful. It's not this one. It's not this one. It's this little one here. And that's an end fixing that goes into this bit of trim. That's the Torx T20. Trim out just so people can recognise the fixings when they're putting their car back together. So yeah, here's a sort of self-tapping Torx T20. Right, and can you pull that little bit of trim out now? So that bit of trim comes off there, and you can see it's got 4 spring clips. Right, we've got to go and do the same on the other side. And then it's exactly the same, but bear in mind he's just as hidden. There is one, we haven't painted this one orange. There's one, we'll undo that, and then we'll show you can remove this whole panel then. Exactly the same, Torx T20. Right, give that a pull, Alicia. He's never been off before, this one. That's it. And that goes all the way there. Oh, it's got, yeah, no connections on it. It's all those same trim clips there, look, just sprinkled on. Right, okay, now it gets a bit more naughty. We've got there's 4 bolts that are on the underside of these 2 braces here. Now, obviously, if you're in America, it's all a bit topsy-turvy. But, right, so I think we've got to remove a panel at the top here. Alicia's worked this out. She's gone in from the end there. Now, there might be some light in, a light guide in there. So, no, the light guide's all clipped up above. No, so you're right. So, keep going, Alicia. Keep going. That's it. Ah, yeah, there is. We could leave that there. We could unplug it, but I don't think it's going to get in our way. But basically, we have got 4 screws up in here we've got to undo. I remember them from doing them on the stick, and they're a right pain. Right, the next thing you've got to do is you've got to get up under here, and there's some Torx T20s under the back edge of here. There's 4 of them. I'll take it off, and you've got to go through this opening. So they're right up, almost sort of in the same orientation as the windscreen you've got to come at. Right, so you need to sort of lie on your back and get those. That's the trickiest bit of the whole job, this. There's 4 of them, 2 there. But basically, we're trying to take off this top panel, not the whole dash, just this padded grab rail here we're trying to take off, and I guess it's where you could be holding here. They've put some extra reinforcers in. So we'll just get those 4 out. You should get 4 little screws like that out when you're done. So we'll get 4 of those out. Right, well, Alicia's fighting those. So you've got the same situation as before. You've got these 2 little screws, or 1 little screw at each end of a dash rail in there, look. So take that out, and that should be a little Torx T20 self-tapper, same as for the lower dash trim. There you go, that's him. I'll do the other side. Right, and then the same little screw at the end. And just when you think you're done, there's a little Torx T20 near the end there. Okay, right, so we've done the one here, and there's one just to the left of the screen there. Another Torx T20. See if I can get a bit of angle on that for you. Right, he's the same as the others. We've got to remove the lower dash panel like we did, the bit that's under the... Work that along. And then that should... Where does it end? Behind the... Yes, it just stops short of the screen. There you go. Oh, that one has also got an ambient wire on it. So we'll let him dangle down for the minute. Right, yeah, he can dangle out the way down there. Right. Obviously, if you haven't got ambient lighting, you won't have those wires. And then there's probably a couple more screws. There's one up under there. And there's another one over there. Right, we'll just show you where they are. So let's do the first one, Alicia, which is just here. And there's one. You can feel them if you run your hand along the top. One just to the right of the screen. Oh, that should be the last one out. Now this dash cover now should pull sort of straight up. There you go. And that all comes off in one like that. Again, you've got the spring clips on the inside. Just to show you, there's the 2 brackets with those really tricky screws, and you can see you've got to sort of come up to them from behind. Right, now we can start to get to the main screen. Right, now you've got to undo. There's a screw at the top of the screen here, Torx T20. Again, self-tappers, you got that, let's see that. Okay, and another one there. Right, point to note, this conversion is only for going from 10-inch to 13. If you've got the 11.4, this kit is not going to work for you. Right, and then we've got 2 at the bottom there. Okay, and another one there. Right, so we've got 4 of those. Right, now the screen should pull out from the bottom, and then it sort of dives down from the top. So pull it from the bottom first. It's on some spring clips. So I think you've got to give it a bit of a... There you go. Right, and then it should go, it dives down. That's it, off the spring clips. No, that's good, that's good. Right, and then it should sort of, we've got to like submarine it out the bottom. Can you lift it up a bit on your side? And that's it. And then wiggle it out from there. Now careful, easy now, because we've got some connections at the back we've got to undo. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to get this black arm goes that way, but we've got to push those 2 bits down. So see if you can do it without blocking the view of the camera. And I say, well, you do that and I'll push the, that's it. And that goes down there. And that is the blue connector out, okay. So that's that bit out. Now there's something, right, what else is the other one? So the other one is a FACRA connector, and it's got a little thing you've got to press right on the end. We'll battle it out and we'll show you. So there you go. Can you just emulate where you're pushing there with your Torx there. So push there, and then it extracts out. So that should be the screen ready to go, shouldn't it, Alicia? So we've liberated all that. So we are going to keep all this plastics. Now the plastics are different on the 11.4-inch screen. So our kit is to go from 10 to 13. Right, let's go and have a look on the bench now. Right, take your new screen. This is the 13-inch screen, and take a good look at the part numbers there. So you've got, this was obviously made by Alpine, the engineering number MAE212. Check that out. So this is used on the Range Rover. It may well be used on some Jaguars as well. So I'll take a picture of that and put it on the screen. Right, so this mount block here is too cumbersome and it doesn't fit in. So you'll probably get it with that mount block. So let's remove that. So these are crosshead screws and then we should better lift this block off. and that should lift out. Okay, so we are going to dispense with that, and this is where we now need to use our own plates. So we've labeled the plates 1, 2, 3. So if you stack them up like this, and if you get that screen the right way up, so that notice the writing is the correct way up as we're looking at it, as you look over my shoulder, we can then take this, and you'll notice that plate 1 is shaped, and you can see how it goes around all these bolts. And then we can use the same screws. Okay, now we're not going to use all 6 of them. Now, I couldn't get that one in. Make sure you don't do what I just did. Don't tighten any of them until you've got all 4 screws in, and then go back round and tighten those, right? Okay, and that's the first plate fitted. You'll see why we have to do it this way as we go through the video. Okay, and now we're ready to take plate 2. So plate 2 goes exactly on top, and you should better see there. Everything, you see how it all cuts out around it, and it even cuts out around those screws now, and that will give us a flat. Now, you'll notice at this stage we put an X and a tick, so don't put anything through there. The bolts we're going to bolt these 2 plates together with, use the holes with a tick. Right, we now need to use these washers. So get the longer bolts out of the kit with these flat heads. Okay, take the nut off, put the washer up to the head like that, and these are going to go through here. And what this is going to do, this is going to form the slot that later is going to form the slot and go in like this, allow us to dock the stereo, okay? So we can put that through there. You can just about get your finger underneath it. You can see the nut just coming into view. Just wiggle him along a bit. Okay, and then we can put this one on here. And the same with the second one. Get that spacer over. And again, I've got this on a bit of card or a cloth. Okay, and you want to get you need little fingers. There you go. Look, even my fingers will get under that. Okay, and I'll just tighten those up. Okay, right, tighten those up. Right, that is the assembly. That's all ready to go in the car. So at the last stage, what we'll do is we will get that in the car, and it will dock, onto this panel. Okay, so we're now ready to assemble this panel. Right, we now need to take our 2 panels, and if you look carefully, you can see, but one of them says left at the end there. Have I got it the right way up? I've got it upside down. Can you see that on the camera? Yes. The camera's normally really good, actually. So that now needs to go on here like so. So what you can do is take the small nuts and bolts, and actually you'll notice that in the back of this casing we've put the hexagonal shape for the nut, so you don't need to keep a spanner on there. You can pop the nuts in the back there. Okay, right, okay, there we go. So that's what we should look like. Now, notice we've left a little bit of slot on these, so you can loosen the left hand too. So as we go to put it in the car, it's just got a little bit of give so it can self-align. We're going to jump back in the car now, and we're going to do the electrical connector. So grab the heat shrink and the electrical connector, and let's jump in the car. So this funky blue connector, you cannot get the male version of this. So we've had to do a little trick to get this plug and play. So what I've got to do is I've got to undress him and take his little jacket off. So I think if I just pull that little tab down there, so it's just this little tab here, look. If I just pull that to the side, we can take his little jacket off. Then, right, now note, not every one of these pins at the back here has got a connector in it. And notice not every one of these has got a connector in it. Now the giveaway seems to be the black wire. So the black wire is on the top nearest us at this side. So if I get my connector the same way around, and if I line it up with those pins in there, we should better line it up so that, now be careful because there's like a sort of, it looks like it's not lined up, but there's this funny sort of H shape where the jacket is. So you should look like that. So the black wire, we've got continuity. The black wire is on this side because you can get it round 180 degrees wrong, and then you're kind of in a world of pain. Now, when you might want to do this at some point later, but this is a glue lined Because the problem with this connector is that it can come apart. It's unlikely to. You could just put a bit of masking tape around it, insulation tape around here, or you could decide to put a bit of heat shrink there, and if you heat that up with a heat gun, that will close around. In fact, we'll do that now. So you can see that's closed, and that'll stop those two coming apart. But make sure you got it the right way around before you do that. Right, we can pass the wires through that, and then we've got to pass these two little hoops up through the top there. Okay, and then the bottom ones should line up. Now, when we press it on, we've got 4 spring clips. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we need to push those on to these 4 squares here. So let's do that again. Pass it up through those holes. Okay, and then there you go. Right, and that all fits there beautifully. We can now do those up. So we just left that little slot so they could sort of self-align. Okay, so, and we've got the hexagonal holes on the back, so they're holding it all for us. Right, so let's just put those back. Now we might do a conversion kit for the 11-inch to 13-inch. Let us know if you want that. Right, we're now ready to bolt the screen in. Now before I put it in, note, these 2 ones that had the X on before, after we've docked it in here, we're going to put a nut and bolt, and the nut and bolt is going to go through these 2 to stop it moving up, because we're going to put it in and dock it, but these will be the lock-in nuts and bolts. But let's make the electrical connections first. So this one is now plug and play. Okay, so the HX2 has got to be the correct way up, and then this FACRA connector will go on there. So that's it, and it's pointing down. So we can tuck all that behind, and now we've just got to line up those 2 little slides, okay, at the side there. Okay, right, that should then push down, and you should feel it. Do one side at a time. There you go. And that clicks in position. Now you're all lined up to get the bolts in the side here. Easier to film from this side. So if you see there around the side, you can then get your Allen headed bolt there, and then you can spin the nut on. Well, don't drop it. Oh, lucky. I'll get my fingers out of the way in a minute. There you go. And that will stop it from going up. Right, and you can just put your Allen key in there. Put your spanner on that. Okay, and that's all lush. Right, now we've got the end caps, which are going to cover all of this. We've got these bookends, we call them, and you can see they've got left and right written in them. So let me get that the correct way round. And these are shaped, it's probably again better if you come around this side and film, Alicia. These are going to go over here and cover all of this. But don't forget, we wouldn't forget, would we, to put your top rail back on. Okay, now remember you're going to have to put your screws back up in here, but for now we don't need to worry about that. We can just clip that on by pushing it down. Right, so with the top rail on, grab this bookend, and it's just gonna, this slot here is just gonna grip round those 3 pieces of aluminium. Okay, and that will just push in. And then we've got this top piece. This should be in black, it's in blue, but we've put vinyl on the one side, and that then goes in the top, and you get it in, locate in the end of that one now, and then it's sort of, these brackets, you can sort of spring them back a bit and get that lined up, and then they then push together and it grips that top. There you go, so you've got a nice top, so you can't see anything from the top. Right, that's all everything in. Obviously you've got to put all your dash ends back on. Now we've got to try and hack the software to make the 13-inch screen work. We'll grab the keys and you'll see at the moment it will do nothing. So let's see if we can hack the software. Right, so let's turn that. Now I'm expecting it to do nothing. So you can see we've got the screen here, we've got the screen here, we've got nothing, and we think we've done it all wrong or our wiring's wrong. But don't panic. Right, turn it off again, Alicia. Right then, jump underneath and put that in the ODB2 port and show people where that is. So there you go, if you have a look under there, Alicia, you'll find it's over this side here somewhere, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Is it that way round or the other way round? There you go. And the little lights are flashing. Look, the lights, that's all good. Right, we've got the lights flashing. Right, here we go. So open the gap diagnostic tool, and then we're going to search for the last tool. Connect to the last tool. It's trying to reconnect. Right, and let's put some power on. Turn the ignition on. Right, one thing to beware, make sure you have got your battery on charge and it's fully charged. Ours is a bit low. We may have to, because when we rewrite this, if the battery goes flat halfway through, you're in a whole world of pain. Right, so if we go into car configuration here, and it's going to load the files. Excuse the binging, we've got the doors open. Right, and we've created a shortcut for Pivi screen, but if you go into the complete list and you search for 641, what you're looking for is you're looking for the upper display, not the lower display, the upper display. Okay, and this is telling us we've currently got the 10-inch single view. Now what we want to change that to is the 13.3-inch single view. So right, let's apply. Hopefully we've got a good battery voltage. So make sure you've got your car on charge when you're doing this. Okay, apply. Okay, so it's saying you're changing from a 10-inch to a 13-inch display. Okay, so we will go update changes. Okay, right, so here we go. Update changes. Right then, is it giving me my battery voltage? The battery voltage is 12.2. It's not too bad, is it? No. Let's just turn the lights off. Save some battery power. Okay. Update these changes. Yes. Okay. Ignition will return automatically after completion. Okay. Right, so let's go continue. Stop. Right, so let's continue. Okay. Wait for the completion. And keep tool connected. So you need to make sure you've got a good phone battery, because you don't want that going. I think we're just about okay on that. And make sure you've got your battery charger connected and you've got a good car battery. Continue. It's checking voltage. Okay, so it's happy with the voltage. Okay, so it's waiting for ECU initialization. So let's just watch the screens a bit, Alicia, because it's a bit weird, because the car will start sort of, see that screen's come on and we're not touching anything. Okay. Now, when we did this before, we had to put the car to sleep again, didn't we? So we're switching the ignition off. Okay. Got 1 second remaining. Okay, switching on. Now notice we've still got nothing coming on this screen. Okay, so it's learning several modules. Now this can take a while. I'm just going to turn the lights off again just to keep the battery voltage. I might have to speed this up. Okay. So it has to initiate several ECUs to tell it, okay, tells all the different modules that it's now got a 13-inch display. So it sends the correct signals to the display. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Alright, it's learning another module. Stop bonging.
Yeah.
Alright, it's learning another module. Okay, here it goes. So yeah, it's got to update all these things, but let's go through all its thing. That's clearing faults. Upload successful. Okay, continue. Right, so it said it's completed. Obviously, we still haven't got a display up here. So let's just try turning it off and turning it on again. Classic IT fix. But I think we may have to lock it. We may even have to leave it to lock completely. Right, so we have now got it all working. So the Gap High ID tool did actually work. The problem we had was twofold. One, the screen that I bought off eBay wasn't working. I've subsequently bought another one and that works. And secondly, the wiring I'd originally got, I'd copied the 11-inch wiring, but there's two positives and two negative feeds to the screen, and on the wiring diagram it said haptic. So the 13-inch screen has a haptic response. Apparently when you touch it, it makes some feeling, but I can't get that to work. So you can see the haptic feedback. I've activated that. There's a setting in the Gap tool for that, but I still don't have the haptic working. So and when I go back, it's often turned off, so I don't know how to keep that haptic on. Right, so I've added the extra wire. We'll update the wiring loom for the 13-inch. Now, the odd thing was the screen worked whether I'd set it to 11-inch or 13. So it doesn't seem to matter whether it's 11 or 13-inch screen. Now, the one thing that's still not working, it doesn't show the picture of the cut. So for some reason, the early 2020 models lose the graphic. Now, I think I need to update the firmware in the near field sensing module, which is down under here, that gives it the image of the car, but I haven't worked that out yet. But I have got the 13-inch screen mounted, and on some things it looks better than other modes. So some modes like seats look really good. They've used all the available space, and it's a really good display. But other things, and when I go onto the camera screen, it doesn't really seem like there's a lot of unused space, really, because you imagine the 10-inch screen is pretty much the same length. So I think they could have, I'm not quite sure how, but it seems a shame that picture's jammed on there. You can't like full size this screen or this screen. I mean, if I just rotate the views, I mean, it's all very cool and everything, but it only use all this screen area here is wasted. But anyway, the main things you're going to use it for are brilliant. So let us know what your thoughts are on that. We'll put the kit for sale and the wiring looms and all the bits and pieces, the brackets and everything available on the website. I hope that helps you upgrade your screen if you're doing it yourself, etc.